National Security Fund has just released its results, and of particular interest to a number of people is the interest it's going to pay on savers' money.
Of course, as inflation rises, the fund is bringing the interest rate to a single digit. Now, we're used to seeing NSSF rise its interest to double digits. And obviously, what we're questioning right now is this the right time?
Yeah, of course, the interest rate was, people expected it to be bigger, but NSSF gave their reasons. One, they said the global markets have not been performing well. They also said there was medium-term access. Now, part of the medium-term access was intended to help people recover from COVID, but partly the conversation also went in enabling people to access their funds early and prepare for retirement, partly also building a house, which is the same conversation. Now, we need to see how do you manage the trade-off, because if you are going to allow people to access mid-term, to go and begin building themselves houses, and then the interest rate is going down, then you begin to say, is somebody benefiting overall? Because ultimately you would want somebody to benefit from both ends, that I can access mid-term, do some investment to actually build myself a house before retirement, but that should not come at a cost that now the overall return on investment is going to go down. We are hoping that besides the effect of the mid-term, if the global and local economy stabilize, the rates will go back possibly to 12%, so that people can have both ends of what they want to do. Access mid-term, build their houses, but also still get a good rate. Now, those are challenges of policy, the challenge of a global economy that NSSF finds itself in, along with its members. But bottom line, you would say it's a good trend. This is the first line we are seeing this, because it was the first time. And we would hope that going forward there will be some improvements, both in the economy and in the policy design and its implementation, to ultimately benefit a Ugandan decent worker to get a decent housing. Of course, even when you look at the return on investment, most people do not know that the fund may be as big as 17 trillion. But there are quite a number of people who have very small amounts in the fund. So for them, the conversation of whether the rate of return, the interest rate was 10% or 15%, it really doesn't add much value to them. And we need to be mindful that social protection, which includes housing, which includes social services, is beyond NSSF. So the conversation of what is Uganda's social protection policy? What is Uganda's social protection strategy? Beyond employees, both in the public sector of a public pension, in the private sector who have NSSF, and now they have introduced the voluntary. There are so many people out there in the communities. Typical farmers, typical traders in the formal and informal economy who do not have any social protection plans and strategies and arrangements that are really leveraging the input from government. So we need to take this conversation broader and wider, but also now we are getting into a conversation of property rights. We have seen people's houses being destroyed and demolished because of land grabbing. Now, you don't want to help somebody or somebody to struggle and build their house, and when you wake up one morning and somebody says you are sitting on my land, and then we clearly see somebody destroy their house and their livelihood. This is a 60-year-old person. They may even be 30 or 40, but they are not going to go back and rebuild that house. You've really demolished their livelihood. So we need to look at the broader span of how do you secure the interest of the Ugandan citizen. And we're looking at the average to below average citizen, who really, if disrupted, may never recover their lifestyle. We have seen some of them commit suicide. We have seen some of them, all sorts of problems that they are facing. So how can we best secure the Ugandan across all the different entire spectrums of their livelihoods and their lives both now and in the future?
Inflation, which is the general increase in the prices of goods and services that we use in our day-to-day life, is creeping up. And we're trying to find out what are the push factors for this state of affairs. And Shamim, how can this be arrested?
I think that what's important is to help our people understand how inflation really impacts their day-to-day living. And that's what we're doing tonight.
Today, inflation in Uganda has touched double digits, hovering around 10%, the first time in over 7 years. While several factors ranging from high fuel prices, the prolonged drought that has pushed food prices up, and the disruptions associated with the Russia-Ukrainian war are being blamed for this, what is clear is the impact this is having on households and businesses.
Now, when inflation hits in our industry, it does not hit one person. It hits the whole value chain. Where is the value chain? There is the manufacturer of the goods that we want to give people to work in the factory. Those are the employees. Then the manufacturer has manufactured goods that he wants to sell out to the people. And those goods are consumed by the lay people. Now we are talking about the manufacturer, the buyer, the employer, the employee, the recruiter, the transporter, the taximan of URA. We are talking about the advertiser, the media. We are talking about very many people.
To manufacturers, this has pushed them in a tight spot where they have little to do to cushion their clientele.
The general increase in the prices has affected us a lot in the way that due to the fact that prices for raw materials is high, we are forced to increase also on our prices because as a business we are profit oriented. We are forced to increase also on our prices in order to meet the expenses incurred in production. And at the end of the day, it's a customer who feels the impact.
The situation seems tougher to players dealing in non-essential commodities.
Inflation has really affected us as the company because what you should know, we concentrate a lot in luxurious products. Because if a person, really the economy is affecting that kind of a person, trust me, we don't think of a mattress. Us as a company, we're not raising profits. The profits are going down.
It is this ripple effect that is raising concern among economists and the business community alike, with some suggesting some quick hacks to tame the situation.
One, if the companies can learn to work within the means, if government can assist to look to prioritize, if we can look at the priorities of our nation and say administration costs can be reduced, and we bring back this money to assist into areas of manufacturing, areas of industry, areas of human capital, then probably we can tackle this together.
If the government could think of the way it can fix that inflation by decreasing some taxes and even thinking of reducing some fuel prices, because I think it's affecting also the economy, maybe, you never know.
Today, several government institutions tasked with ensuring macroeconomic stability are making moves to cool the inflationary pressure, with the central bank playing a leading role. Bank of Uganda has increased the benchmark rate to 10% and has promised to continue increasing it until inflation is tamed.
Now we take a very short break. We'll see you soon.